good evening to our lecturers here and to all my friends. I am Schizophrenia bin Muhammad from Science Agro-Technology Aquaculture. Before I go further on my topics, I would like to share something with you all. This is about Daniel's story. Daniel is 21 years old. 6 months ago, he was doing well in college and holding down a part-time job in the stockroom of a local electronics store. But then he began to change, becoming increasingly paranoid and acting out in weird ways. First, he became convinced that his professors were out to get him, and since the other students didn't appreciate his confusing, the other students were shouting at him. Then he told his roommate that the other students outside there were in on the conspiracy. Soon after, he dropped out of school. From there, things just got worse. Daniel stopped bathing and stopped washing his clothes, and at work, he became convinced that his boss was watching him through surveillance bugs. Then he started hearing the voices that told him to find the bugs and deactivate them. Things came to a head when he acted on the voices, smashing several televisions and screaming that he wasn't going to pull out this illegal sign anymore. Lastly, his frightened boss called the police and Daniel was hospitalized. I'm sure that you have wondered what is going on, right? One of the people that having this disease might be someone that you know. This disease is called schizophrenia. Today I'm going to tell you the symptoms of schizophrenia, which are disorganized behavior, delusions, and also hallucinations. But before that, let me tell you what is the real meaning of schizophrenia actually. As mentioned by Dr. Roger Henderson in his article, schizophrenia is defined as brain disorder or mental illness that changes a person's perception, thoughts, and behavior. Now that you know something about schizophrenia, let's look at to the first symptom of this disease. The first symptom of schizophrenia is disorganized behavior, which can disrupt the objective directed to a person's activity. As mentioned by Smith and Siegel in the article entitled Understand the Symptoms of Schizophrenia, they say that those who suffer from this schizophrenia will act weird and no purpose, and sometimes they will give an unpredictable emotional response. For example, if a normal person like us, when we are watching a horror or sad movies, we feel scared and we feel sad, right? But it does not happen for those who suffer with schizophrenia. They still can laugh even though they was watching sad movies. Can you imagine that? Okay. Besides, it also will cause an impairment in a person's ability to take care of him or herself, and to work and also to interact with others. Next, let's go to the second symptom of schizophrenia, which is delusions. A delusion is extremely common in a person who has schizophrenia. According to Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorder 4th edition text revision, delusion means false belief based on incorrect deduction about actual reality that persist against the changes that persist against the evidence to the opposite, and these beliefs usually are not accepted by people around them. In other words, they believe that a neutral environmental event have a personal meaning for them. For example, they might believe a person on the television is sending a message mean definitely for them. Last but not least, I will tell you the third symptom of schizophrenia, which is hallucinations. Auditory hallucination is most common for a schizophrenic person. As stated in the article written again by Smith and Siegel, they say that auditory hallucination occurs when people misinterpret their own inner self-thought as coming from an outside source. Schizophrenic hallucination usually meaningful to the person who experiencing them. Many times, the voices that they hear are those come from someone they know. Most commonly, the voices are critical, vulgar, and also abusive. Hallucination also tend to be worse when the person is alone. As a conclusion, it is undeniable that there is a lot of symptoms of schizophrenia that we Malaysians should concern about. As what I mentioned earlier, the symptoms of schizophrenia included disorganized behavior, delusions, and also hallucinations. However, those people who having this disease are not supposed to be ignored, but they should give a support from mental health professional, and the most important is from the attention from their families. What if the person who's suffering from this disease is someone that you really love? Imagine that if your brother or your sister has been ignored just because they are schizophrenic person. So we as a normal person should give them a moral support and always be with them. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with a short video about schizophrenia. Let's enjoy the video, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Schizophrenia has been dubbed the modern-day equivalent of leprosy by celebrated psychiatrist E. Filatori, M.D.
Schizophrenia is splitting of the mind. So perhaps it makes sense that one of the most basic myths about schizophrenia is that people who have it suffer from split or multiple personalities. Fully 64% of Americans buy into this misconception, according to a National Alliance on Mental Illness survey. Split mind refers to a disparity between thought and action, such as smiling when telling a disturbing story or feeling afraid of completely mundane things. It does not refer to a variety of different personalities. The incidence of violence amongst those with schizophrenia is not much higher than that of the general population. It is much more likely that a person with schizophrenia will withdraw from society in confusion, fear, and despair than that he will become violent or dangerous. This untruth was most effectively debunked by 10 years of research from the New Hampshire Dual Diagnosis Study. This research found that 62.7% of people with schizophrenia were managing to successfully control symptoms of the disease, while 56.8% were thriving in independent living and 41.4% were gainfully employed. While it is true that schizophrenia is not curable, its symptoms can be very successfully treated with prescription medication and psychotherapy. If you believe that you or a loved one suffers from schizophrenia, please make an appointment with a mental health professional.